All right, just doing a little geometric stamping here. Redoing my little Tom Thumb purse that we're working on. So I thought I'd go live while I play around with this. So you out there want to join me or you have any questions or comments, by all means throw it down in the comments and I'll take a look every so often and try to comment. Hopefully y'all can hear me. So we'll see what happens. Got my blue tape on so it doesn't smush too much. Ah, the barber is checked in for the pure excitement of leather stamping. And that first line is the most important, but once you get the first one, it's not too bad. But we'll try to get this right. Yeah, we're getting there. I'm off just a smidge, but it'll be all right. Got to keep an eye where your stamp's going, set it right, get a nice hit in there, and everything's good. Lives are always interesting. I feel like I'm working in a vacuum here, but I trust you all can hear me. And, if not, watch along. By all means, shoot me a comment, shoot me a question. I'm happy to chit-chat while I'm doing this. Trying to decide what I'll do up here on this part. I tried to carve the last one, which I put a video up, which I did, but I stamped too hard there, and I cut right through the leather. Never good. Just a tap-tap a roomie. Yeah, that's correct there, Mr. Paul. So, but that's no good. We can't have that. So that was a mistake I made earlier. But that's okay. So I get to do it again. And we're working our way through it here. That Paul who just checked in is a blacksmith. We know him. Does some fine work. Check him out. Got a nice website out there. Does all kinds of period work. All right. Coming right along here. Line 3. We're getting nice and set up here. You can see we got our pattern going. Looking good. Ooh, 2 thumbs up. I like that, people. Love me a thumbs up. And we're going to do a border stamp around these two, around the edges. So that'll look nice. Just realized I forgot to run my edge around first, but that's okay. Maybe I'll do that now. Hello there, Boy Kim 4493. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to take my swivel knife around the edge here. I should have done that first, but it'll be okay. Usually I'll swivel knife around the border, do a quick little bevel. I'll usually use a push beveler, or I have a
a beveler on a swivel knife that I like to use for this kind of stuff.
So we got that cut in there, so that'll work. What is this creation? Well, Mr. Blacksmith, this creation is something called the Tom Thumb. And it's right there. This is an old Al Stolman book, Projects and Designs. His and I just wanted something to mess around with here, so we're giving that a shot tonight. There's the middle part. That'll get laced onto that once we're done. So, thanks for the love, people. I appreciate that. There's lots of ways you can bevel that outside edge. I'm going to use this. This is just a beveler out of plastic on a swivel knife. That's the easiest way I can do this. You can, of course, sit there and hand do it with a bevel stamp like that too. So that's another way to go about it, if you will.
Apologize if my head's in the way. That's a thing, I know. Very important how the moisture level is in your leather when you do this. And I'll try to show you something here when I get done going around this in a second, what I mean. You want a nice burnish. So if you're too wet, it mushes too much. If you're too dry, you don't get a nice burnish. But if you get it just right, the leather burnishes down, it presses in good.
And if you look there, see how that's kind of burnished out there, a little darker? A little tough to see there on the camera, but it came out good. So I'm happy with that. All right, back to geometrics. Also, you're going to watch me real quick here. I like to strop my swivel knife after I use it, just to keep that sharp edge on there. And I do the same amount of strops on each side. And that just keeps me nice and sharp when I'm ready for the next time. Okay. And all that is there is a little green compound on some leather I'm using. Ooh, I'm still getting lots of love. I like that.
Okay. Gonna start working our way down the other side now.
Try to keep it uniform.
And what this is, like I said, it's a Tom Thumb, or the Tom Thumb. It's a little purse.
Not big enough for much. Some change.
If you're one of the ladies, maybe a lipstick, chapstick, something like that.
If you're one of the guys, maybe a small knife.
Really anything you want, but it's small.
I could argue you could put it on a keychain. But definitely lots of possibilities.
All right, we're looking good here.
Another line done. We're getting there little by little. These geometric stamps,
It's so easy to get off, so you got to watch because it'll draw your line of sight if you get off too much. But what you want is enough uniformity that it doesn't draw your line of sight away from it, and it looks good as a pattern when you're all said and done.
it's a little tough on camera because I like to get right above it like this to see. But almost home. You'll notice on that edge there, I tipped it this way so I can get that just a little more out there. I am going to put a border stamp around it, and you can see that. Where's my bad example? See the border stamp around the outside there? So that'll clean that whole outside up and leave our geometric in the middle when we're done.
Alrighty. When I'm real close to the edge, I don't hit as hard either, so
because I don't want to overlap onto this border I made.
All right, 4 likes. I'm feeling very liked. I don't know, folks, anybody who's watching there, if you got any
Comments on what I should carve on this top part. I did kind of a traditional flower type pattern here the first time. Not sure I'll do that again, but I'm open to suggestion if anybody has any.
what we should put up there. I can wing with a lot of stuff here. This is not being made for anyone specifically, so we can do whatever we want, which is nice.
All right, so there's our geometric. It's all in, it's all ready to go. And now we need a border stamp. So I'm just gonna put my geometric away, long reach over that way into my stamp section. And now I'm gonna decide what geometric I want. So it's just a preference thing, whatever you want to do. There's no right or wrong. Let's see what this one looks like here. It's not too bad. Think about that a minute. There's a little smaller one. Maybe we go this one. Nah, I don't like that. Alrighty. D435. Kershaw 1 and these craft stamps all have a lot of them have a letter and a number that tells you what they are. You can reference those on charts and sheets and stuff. I am using craft tools, so just happens to be a type of stamp I have in my hand right now. All right, we're going to start on the flat edge up here. So I'm going to go right to the corner with this one. Nice firm impression.
And then just follow it down.
We want one nice solid hit to get those impressions there. I'm going to try to give you a little closer look there. That's going to be our border stamp for this guy. And we're going to work our way around. Man, lots of love.
I don't know who's giving me all the love, but we appreciate it.
And I'm holding it like this so I can have my finger down there so I keep it nice and straight. All right, so there's our first line of the border stamp all the way around. Now we're going to work our way around this part here. A lot of fun to do. You can be creative with it. Different types of stamps, different borders, whatever you want. But the main thing is have some fun with it, folks, when you're doing this. Be proud of what you made. And I'm really taking my time here because I want it to look nice when I'm done. So. By the way, if you got a question or a comment, throw it down there in the comment section. I'll take a look every so often and be happy to reply. And we're almost done with this side. Just that quick, folks. Gotta be mindful when you're coming to the end here that you're not left like a half a stamp or something in that vein. So sometimes I'll just kind of mark out where I'm going. It looks like we're going to come in pretty good there. So, but I'm kind of mindful as I come around the corner there that I know where I'm going to end. So. All right, there we go. One side's done. Just like that. Now, when we're all done here, this is going to fold up like this. And this is going to get laced into there. That's our little, I guess we'd call that a gusset. So, all right, now the hard part. What do we do here, folks? This right here, what do we do? Do I go back to that and try to do that? The tricky part is this is thin leather. This is about 4-ounce leather I'm using because being in such a small situation, we want thin leather there. So it's a little tougher to work through. This skill is new to me. All I know is I love the leather. What you're designing looks beautiful. Thanks so much there. I appreciate that there. I guess it's Shane Maury. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but I appreciate it. There's all kinds of things you can do in leather, from carving work to stamping. This is just stamping. This part down here is stamping. This is carving work. So I'm thinking about right now what I'm going to put here. And the difference here, just so you folks know, is this is just done with stamps. Okay, so these kind of... this up here, we actually will draw the design and we'll carve with our swivel knife. This here, around it, then bevel it down, which pushes the leather down in the back, which brings your design out to the front. And there's a lot of different stamps you then use to make design work in there and so on. But I'm trying to decide where I'm going to go with this. Kind of thinking maple leaf. I like maple leaves. I have a real fondness for maple leaves, so maybe I'll go that route. I wasn't thrilled with my with this. This is not my strong skill set here, but still learning, still figuring. But here's a nice maple leaf in this book. See this here? So maybe I'll do that pattern. Let me. I'm going to draw that out here. Well, trace it out. Excuse me. Drawing is something I work on, but you know, not there. So we're going to take our tracing paper, which is just this guy here. And we're going to lay it right over that. We're going to find us a pencil. I have that right at hand here. And we're going to draw this out. So let's see what we got here. This is a nice little maple leaf. So this is what I'll do so I can transfer the pattern. I have hand drawn them. I do that sometimes. My drawing skills need work. So I'm going to cheat this time, so to speak, and draw it out on the pattern. Nothing wrong with that. You can use line art you find online. You can draw it yourself. I've actually taken real maple leaves from a tree and used that as a pattern before. That's kind of fun to do. And I try to look at the leaf and see how they actually look and what they look like. So that's a fun little project too. Alrighty. Now I got a feeling that both probably, well, maybe both will fit. I'm going to draw them both out to see if they fit. Let's see what happens here. Let me get this on there. Biggest thing, folks, like I said, have fun with this. Enjoy what you're doing. You know, figuring out what you want to do, how you want to do it. For you more artistic types, if you can draw it out yourself, by all means, go for it. It's fun to create your own things. All right, let's do this other maple leaf here. We're going to see how this flows. As you can see, I'm just tracing it. That's all I'm doing here, folks. I'm tracing it out there. I realize I'm a little off camera. My apologies. Now, you can't see all the tools I have, but I have a ton of tools behind me. But you don't need a lot to do this kind of carving work. You can get into it pretty simply with some bevelers, some basic stamps, 6 or 7 stamps, and a rawhide mallet of some type, and you're in the game. And a swivel knife. You need a swivel knife. Which, again, not a big deal to do that. Pencil probably could have been sharpened first, but that's okay. Almost home on the trace out here. I like this little bit down here. I might actually use that. Let's see. All right, there is our traced out pattern. So what I'm going to do now is see what fits into our layout. Let's see. Got a pretty small footprint here, so I don't have a lot of room, but let's see what'll work in here. Yeah, it's a little tough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this swivel knife. I'm going to cut this border. Okay, let's do that and bevel around that, and see. That'll give me a better sense because I can feel that through the tracing paper because I can't see it real well. But that'll give me a sense of what we got. And you're all wondering, this is just my maker's mark I put on there too. So, what thickness leather, what type of leather are you using? Well, Paul, I am using, this is a veg tan leather. This is actually skirting leather from Wickett and Craig. which is a veg tan, which will take tooling. But it's dyed this brown color, which when it's dry looks more like this. So that's the kind of leather I'm using. 4 ounce in this case. I wanted it fairly thin, which does make carving a little tricky because that's how I pounded too hard on this and cut right through it, because you see how thin it is there. So that's what we got to be careful of. But good question.
So I'm both turning my swivel knife and the leather a little bit as I cut. I don't know how well you can see that because my hand's probably blocking it. To get a nice round as I come around, I want to follow my line best I can, and not too bad there. A little hard to tell that the cut's in there, but I promise you that cut it. And let's see. Let's put this guy back where it lives. 603. Ah, that goes right there. Okay. Okie dokie. And we're going to touch this up again before we put it away. I'll just do, I don't know, maybe 6 total on each side. Try to keep that angle right, keep it sharp for next time. I used to not do that, and then I found myself sharpening or getting grumpy because it wasn't cutting well enough. You never want that. And I am going to, I'm actually going to cut this out of the tracing paper a little bit to make my life a little easier. Let's see what we got when we do that. Sorry, I'm off camera, folks. But I'll keep it cutting here. I'm just cutting it with my scissors. This is where if you draw, it's a little easier. You can draw it right on the leather. But this works. All right, there we go. And as I expected this, getting both of those on there is a little tough, so we're going to go with just the one. See where that goes from here. Okay, so I'm going to line this up where I want it. And I think that's about right. And excuse me, I'm going to run over and sharpen my pencil. I'll be right back. Stay with me, folks. Stay with me. All right, I'm back with a sharpened pencil, people. Nice and sharp. All right, the biggest thing here is that we get it where we want it to be, and then as I trace the pattern on there, we hold it where it needs to stay. So, probably have my hands in the way for a lot of this, but you'll get the idea. And I'm moving my fingers around so I keep the paper from moving, the tracing paper, as I do this. And once the tracing's on there, it's the cut that matters. So even if our lines are a little off, we can adjust when we do the cut. And this leather is wet right now, so that is what will allow the impression to go in, and then the cuts, and then the stamping, which of course is a good thing. Glare from the light is making it really hard for me to see my tracing lines, but I'm getting it, folks. A little tough to stay on camera here, but we're making it work. Okay, we got the leaf traced. A little hard to see probably, but it's there. I'm getting love again. That's the best, people. Thank you for the love. And I'm working through this part now. We are, believe it or not, somewhat in our home stretch here. Almost there, people, almost. All right, and we're gonna do this guy here. This, I don't know. I'm tempted to lose this one here, I think, because that was going to the other part. So I think what we'll do is we're just going to feather this down this way. That'll be good.
So there it is. And that's what we're going to work from through our next part here. Again, folks, if you've got any questions, wonder what the heck I'm doing or whatnot, just shoot a line down there. We'll see what we can figure out for you.
And I'm going to extend this just down till it hits
just about the line there. So I think that's pretty good. I like where it's roughly, it's not quite center, and that's okay. And now we're going to go back to our swivel knife. So we're going to go with this guy. This is our swivel knife.
We're going to drop our pencil. So we're going to pick that up.
I know, off camera shenanigans. All right, so now I'm going to work my way. What I'm going to do here is, and it'll be a little tough to see while I'm doing it because my hands will be in the way, but I'm going to cut around this whole outside border here. All of this out here. All this stuff around all these parts, okay? So we're going to work our way through that and see where we get to. And then we will probably do some swivel knife cuts in here too on these parts. All right? So let's take a shot at this, see how we do.
Want to keep your swivel knife straight up and down if you can. You don't want to get on an angle. Like, you don't want to be tipped this way or this way too much, because that will not lead to a nice uniform cut when you go to bevel, and you'll get like an undercut, which will not be what you want, folks. So far, so good.
And as you can see, we're starting to cut our way around that, if you can see the cuts there. Man, lots of love today, lots of love.
All right. Having really good lighting is important when you do this kind of work, so you can see, because your hands will create some shadows if you're not careful. And again, I'm trying to keep it on camera too, folks, so that makes it a little tougher. Keep thinking about how I can get a better setup to show you guys better. I got to think some more on that. But hopefully you can kind of see where I'm going here as I work my way around the bulk of the maple leaf. If you do enough of this, you get a pretty good feel for it after a while. When to bend around and how to do all that. And you can see it. So.
All right, so we're around the main part of the maple leaf now. As you can see now, the cuts are all in there, and that's good. So the masking is used for what purpose? Another great question there. So when you're stamping on this, you're smushing that leather down, which has a tendency to push your leather out or up or mush it in certain directions. By putting some kind of backer on this, it keeps it firmer so it doesn't push it out too much and get you too off where you need to be, because you don't want to be way off, because when you go to lace this needs to match up. So this has to match up with those holes when we go to lace it. So that's what the masking tape is for. Good question.
All right, let's do this guy. Go up the other stem here. This is a little tricky because it's so darn small.
There's the one.
And we'll work up the other ones now. Get a little quiet because I'm concentrating.
All right, and all we have left is that little doodad there. I'm not even sure what that's supposed to be, but
we're going to get that guy next here.
All right, there we go. So that's it for the swivel knife. We're all cut. Again, I'm going to just touch up my swivel knife quick on my little green compound on a piece of leather here. 2, 3. Same strokes on each side. 2, 3. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And again, that just keeps that nice and sharp for the next time. Back in the rack that goes. And now we got to think about how we're going to bevel here and what we're going to do. There's so many options for bevelers, and there's really no right or wrong way. You can't see them, but all my tools are up yonder that way. Here, let's take a poke. There we go. So these are my stamps I'm using. Bevelers are all in this section here, so I'm going to pick out a beveler I like. Let's get this back focused to where we need to be. What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? I think we're going to go with B198. It's like bingo, folks. Bingo! Happy to share. Thanks for joining us for a little while there. Appreciate you. And we're going to go back to my mallet here. It's my nice, I like this mallet. Fits my hand well. Works pretty good. So we're going to start working our way around this to bevel it now. Again, what the beveling does, if we look at our example here that I messed up, we're going to be pushing all this down around the main body of what we're doing. So that's what you got to think about when you go to bevel. And if you look at these bevelers, you can see, hopefully you can see that. See how it bevels down that way? So this high end here goes right against what we're going to bevel. So it pushes it more down by, in this case, the maple leaf, thus bringing that up more, or at least giving that illusion. So this will take a little bit of time here. We got to work our way around the whole thing. Again, I want to be straight up and down, give a nice hit. The other thing is I want to overlap just a little so I don't get bumps with each stamp. I'm going to do a little bit here and I'll show you folks, because I know you can't really see what I'm doing. And basically what we're doing there is, so if you look, see how we beveled that down? That's going to bring it out to us, all right? And that's what we want. This is where the art form really starts to come to life. You're bringing this maple leaf and its stem and little branch here to life. We want to think about how that would look to our eye if we were actually looking at it, say, on a maple tree, or if it was in our hands right now. So that's what we're thinking about as I work my way around this. So you'll notice I work down this side now. Let me see if I can get that a little closer so you can see. And now I'm going to work on this side here. So I will put the steeper part is on this side here, working our way up around. And you want to get a nice burnish on there if you can. That's our goal.
Burnish is just kind of a darkness. It's how it looks. I'm not sure how to explain that better. And again, I can't stamp this really hard because it's such a thin leather. 4 ounce is pretty thin. So sometimes I'll just use the stamp and kind of
rock it in there a little bit to get what I want.
All right.
Now, see these bumps? I don't know if you can see that. See how this is bumpy like? That's not what we want.
So sometimes I'll just go back over by hand. That had to do with how I hit it and where, and just kind of press those down a little more, kind of smoothing it out. Because I'm using a checkered beveler, it shows a little more, if you will, but that's okay.
All right, so I'm going to come down to this side now and work my way up to the leaf so we get that one in there. And again, if you folks are watching, you're wondering what I'm doing or what this is leather carving. If you have any questions, shoot it down there. I'll happily do my best to answer. One thing you can't see that I'm doing is I'm not holding it straight on the leather. I'm actually using this kind of like my fingers like a spring. So I'm up just a little bit off the leather and I bounce down and back up. But I'm doing that with my fingers. And that gives me a better impression. And it's a technique you learn as you go along. Try to make one good impression and then some light taps maybe to smooth it out. Again, I'm really not pounding this hard because we can't do too much that way because of the thinness of this leather. So we got to really be careful about that. Okay. All right, so there we go. We are beveled up to the leaf. Hope you all can see that well. And you can see how this really brought it out, okay?
So just going to do a little touch up down here around my edges. And we have a decision to make.
So I can leave this like this around these outer points, and I might finish beveling this out so that checkered beveler is in all those spots too, okay?
But I'll think on that as I'm going here. So
this is fairly large compared to our maple leaf, so I'm going to work around what I can with this, and then I'll use a different tool to get the smaller parts if I have to. Sometimes I tip it in a little bit to get to the spots I can't get well. Perfectly acceptable to do that. Got to kind of find those angles and where it belongs, kind of look at it a little bit as you go. Part of the artistry of it, if you will. So you can see now I'm starting to work my way pretty good around that maple leaf. Coming along nice. Happy with it so far. And I may do what's called petal lifting here, and I'll show you what that is in just a little bit, but that helps bring the leaf more to life too. And I think I'm going to do that on this one. This is a little tricky in here. This little round part right there. That's a little tricky, but we'll get it. It's only tricky because of the size beveler I'm using right now. And a lot of times I have a smaller beveler. I probably do in the rack. But so far this is working out, so I'm not going to worry about it. And again, that burnish, you see how that's darker in there? That's what I'm talking about by burnish. It's darkened up a little bit. It gives it a nice look. I like that. That's what I want.
All right, we're at the peak of the maple leaf there. Again, I apologize. I know it's really hard to see what I'm doing because there's a stamp in the way and my hands are in the way, and I got big paws, people. Big paws. And again, what you're doing is you're following that cut line. You're knocking it down. That's the whole deal here. Remember, nature is not uniform too, so when you think about this, it's not going to be not perfect circles or anything, which is okay. All right, we're going to work around this point here.
You probably couldn't see it, but I really tipped this on an angle there to get that there. Got to go post the finished product. Yes, I absolutely will post the finished product when this is all done. I have a series of shorts up today. This whole process from sewing in this and punching a bunch of holes and cutting this out and the whole nine. So if you feel like it, jump on here. You can see the different posts. They're all shorts. They all range from, I don't know, 20 seconds to maybe 50 seconds. Kind of showing the process as I went along. And the last thing, once this is done, tape will come off, and I'm going to do double loop lacing is what it's called, with lacing for these two parts to finish it off and to attach it all. But when it's all done, I'll take a nice post up there, put it out there. So by all means, come back, folks, check that out. I do appreciate you all joining me on the live here. It's kind of fun to do. Little company in the shop. I work alone, so almost there, people, at least on this part. Come around this last little bend here. Now I got a pretty, there's a little notch there, which you probably can't see well, but I'm gonna use another little tool here I got. I just got to find which one I want. I don't like that one. What's this one look like? Nope, don't like that one. Trying to find a checkered beveler I like here, but in a triangle shape. So there's a triangle shape with the checkers on it, and that'll give me a nice little notch in there for that last little spot, I think. So if you look there, let me get my pointer. See how that gave me a nice little divot in there? I like it. Actually, halters. Let's see. I think we're talking horse stuff here. I think I did one once is all. Never did too much of the horse stuff. I do a lot of sheath work for knives, done some bags. I've done quite a few things, done some holsters. I don't do much holsters anymore, but I've done a lot of that kind of stuff. So this is really applicable to anything in leather you want to do. It's just a matter of having the right pieces and sewed together, and then your detail work that you want on it. So halters could definitely be done. Thanks for checking in. Alrighty, I think I am going to bevel some of the rest of this empty space out just to clean that up. So I'm going to follow down this line and then up around here first, and these guys too. So I'm going to catch this guy right here. Let's see if we can catch that. Actually, before I do, I'm going to get my triangle back again. This down in here needs a little bit just to bring that out, but I can catch that with this. And again, sometimes I'll just, without using the pounder, just work my beveler in there where I need it to go. And just press it into what I need to do. Whenever you got small spaces, it gets a little tricky, but we're making it work. All right. All right, let's work our way around this space, get that all done, and then we're going to work on our detail stuff inside here. Trying to decide if I'm going to just bevel around this part. I think I probably will just bevel rather than cutting it with the swivel knife. So I think that's probably my plan with that. You can get a pretty good impression, make it look nice with that too. I don't know if you caught that. I had the beveler the wrong direction. I almost stamped it the wrong way there. So you got to watch that when you're going. All right, working our way across this straight line. A lot of open space there, so it's not too bad to do. Gonna tip a little bit here so I don't catch the maple leaf as I come across it. I don't want to mess up my leaf. Getting there, people. We're getting there. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate y'all. So there's our straight line. We've worked across it there. Give it a little detail, so to speak. And that little hump I have left, I'm just kind of smushing my checker bevel over a little bit just to smooth it a little bit, make it a little more uniform. This is just a particular thing for me that I'm doing to make it look a little nicer. All right, we're going to work our way up around the round parts here. Again, I'm staying right against that cut line, straight up and down. We'll check the comments in a minute there to see if any of y'all had a comment or a question. Give leather a shot if you folks haven't. It's a lot of fun to do. There's so many neat little things you can make and do and create. If you have the artistic bent with the carving, it's almost limitless what you can do. All right, so you can see there we've worked our way around this whole thing. We got this little part to deal with yet, and I'm going to finish working my way around this part now. Ooh, 7 thumbs up. That might be a record. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Again, good lighting is so important, especially if you're old like me. You can't see it, but I'm wearing my eyeballs, as I call them. I got a optivisor on, so I got some magnification, which helps too. If you got young eyes, it's not too bad. But you hit your 50s, and let me tell you, your eyes are not young anymore. All right, so we're around the whole top here, but as you can see, we've got these parts and these parts, so I'm going to smooth that out now. Add a little. I'm just lightly tapping the beveler. I'm not using it really as a beveler. I have it tipped in a way that it's just kind of flat. And it's detail work when you look at it to do this. Again, I'm trying to make sure I'm a little heavier this way so it's tamped down to bring that leaf out. That's what we want. And we'll go over to this part. I am happy I decided to go the whole way with this because I think it looks better than leaving that kind of open space, if you will. All right, folks, so how are we looking? We got a maple leaf? I think we got a maple leaf. I think it looks all right. So we're all stamped down around it, looking pretty good there. It looks better from a distance. Like the camera really picks up the little bumps and bobs in there, but I don't think it looks too bad from my eye here. I am going to just do a little smoothing out, so to speak, with my beveler. And I'm just doing this by hand. I'm not using the mallet for this case. It's just me. This is what I do. I don't know, you know, if you read all the books and whatever, but this is what I've learned over the years doing it. It's to my eye, since I'm the one doing it the way I want, so that's okay. All right. Trying to think here. I'm going to switch. This is a smaller checkered beveler to work up this inside here. See the difference? Quite a bit difference in size. I could have used that on the outside in a few spots too, but it's just a choice. It's up to you. But that's what we're going to use on this inside part. So let's work our way up here. And I'll show you in a second here once I get it all in. And again, I'm holding it up a little bit as I tap it. You can probably hear it. It's nice and light taps, not getting crazy. There's our one side. Oh, you can see it there, but that's just really slight tapping going up it. And we're going to work up our other side now. And what you can't see is I'm watching as I go up so it looks uniform. I got a little taper coming up towards that end, which is what I want. All right, so there's our middle part there going up it. And I'm going to work around these other 4 pieces now too. We'll get that wrapped up. I did choose not to swivel knife up those because it's so small. This is a very small maple leaf. So I decided not to go that direction, which is perfectly acceptable. Taking my time here, folks. Want to have a good look when I'm all done. So just going to smooth this a little bit. I'm being a little particular here, probably more than I need to be, but that's all right. And now I'm starting to work up my other one here. I decided not to tap this time. I kind of like the impression I'm getting without using the mallet. And it gives me a little more control, too, with what I'm doing. Let's see how that works out for us. All right. And this longer one, I am going to go back to the mallet just a little bit here. And what I'm doing too, that you probably can't tell or can't see maybe, is these kind of point up towards this end here. So they're going towards the points of the leaves, and I'll feather them out a little bit as we go along too. And again, remember, nature is not perfect.
And we are not going to be perfect either.
It's okay. All right, so there we go. There's the basis of what we're doing. Hopefully you can see it. Hopefully it looks maple leafy. I'm hoping. All right. I'm having an internal debate right now about where I want to go next. May do some swivel knife cuts. I don't know. Put my stamp back. Thinking my way through. So this is a pear shader. Kind of rounded on the bottom, comes up to a point. So I'm going to use that for some detail work here.
And I don't know if you can see it, but I'm just doing it without the help of the mallet. Just kind of taking some artistic license. Working my way through here, folks. Just bear with me, and I'll show you what I'm doing here in a minute. And again, it's adding depth is what we're doing. We're pushing some of the leather down, give us a little more depth in what we're doing. Bringing this leaf to life right now. Just bear with me, folks. I'll show you in just a second here what I'm doing.
So a little more depth to it now. You can see where I worked my way through all those parts there. And I'm going to take the swivel knife, make some swivel cuts in there just to kind of finish it off. I will say that when you get smaller, it gets a little tougher in my opinion. So that takes a little more, but that's okay. 5 humans watching. You got any questions, comments? Shoot it down there, folks. Let me know. All right. I always got to think my way through all this, where I'm going to go with swivel cuts and so on here. Sometimes I'll take a little practice piece. This is scrap now, and you know,
Just take a couple practice cuts before I work my way down into doing it on the actual leaf.
and that's always a good idea if you're not comfortable before you go to the real thing, because the reality here is this is it. Once you do it, it's on there, and there's no going back. There's no eraser on leather. You can't just erase it out. So you got to consider all that.
All right, let's see here. So I'm now adding some swivel cuts in. Just doing some little, again, detail work, if you will. Just trying to think about the right way so it has the right look to it. I don't want to get too detailed because I don't have a lot of space here. So we got to consider that. I'm going to look over on this side yet to see what I want to do here. Take one line there, maybe one there.
I think we look pretty good on the leaf itself. What do you think, folks? Does that look all right? Why can't you fill it in and redo it like drywall? Well, there, Kyle, because this is not drywall. I suppose if we had leather paste, like you have drywall paste or whatever the heck that stuff called, joint compound, that's the word I want, we could, but there is no joint leather compound. But we appreciate your comment.
All right, let's do just a little bit of detail work down here.
All right. There we go. There's our maple leaf. I think we're pretty good there, folks. So, simple as that. We just carve a maple leaf in there and call it a day. That's good. I don't think we need to do anything else to this guy. I think we're all right with it. I'm going to try one more little thing here, I think. Let me see what I want here. Maybe this guy. Nope, don't like that one.
Just adding a few little lines to this here, just to give it a little more detail work.
All right, there we go. That's probably hard to tell what I did there, but there we be. 8 thumbs up, loving that. All right, so we are up to now. I got to take that tape off, which hopefully comes off nice and easy. I'm going to put my stamps back. I try to keep my tool bench relatively clear when I'm doing this. I know you guys can only see like the size of my hand, but I usually have crap all over the place. So I'm going to try to kind of keep that in line here. I try to put my tools away as I go just to keep a clean workspace. You, of course, can do as you please, but that's what I like to do. Mainly because I don't want to knock tools on the floor or dent them or cause a problem. So, all right. Now I got to think, do I want to do black lace or brown lace? That's a question. I think I'm going to go black to give it a little contrast, maybe, to go around the whole thing. All right, let's see here. I'm going to get this tape off of here now. When you're pounding on it, the tape goes in a little harder, of course, but this is painter's tape, by the way. Get it at any hardware store or Home Depot, Lowe's, that kind of stuff. Nothing fancy. All right, there, our tape is off. This is garbaggio because we don't reuse tape. Even I'm not that cheap. Well, maybe I am that cheap, but I don't reuse tape. Okay. All right, so here's where we're at, folks. So what's going to happen now is, let me see here. I have a mark on these. So you can't probably see it. There's a little tiny mark right here. That's my center hole. And that is going to match up to this center hole here. So this will go this way, and we have to lace all the way around this. Coming all through these parts going up and around, which is going to be a little tricky. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to pop off camera. I got to go get some lace. I may keep the live going while I lace. I don't know. I got to think about that. But I think I can probably pull it off. But I'm going to go black lace. I'm going to get that. We'll get set up for that. So give me a minute. Hang out. You got any questions, comments down there, that away. Throw me a comment. Throw me anything. You know, happy to talk. Okay. Okay, there's some lacing for us. This is 1/8 inch calf lace I'm going with on this one. You know, I have some saddle soap here. I'm going to run that through the saddle soap just to kind of make it nice and give it a little water, little saddle soap. It keeps it more supple. Lace has a tendency to get a little dry, so I want that nice and supple before I start lacing all of this. So we're going to do that in a second. You might be wondering how I know how much lace I need. It's a guess, people. In my memory, lace takes 7 the outside of a lacing project. So that's what I went with. If I come up short, there's ways to splice it, so we don't have to worry about that too much. That's doable. I am probably, yeah, I'm not going to dye the inside of this. I'm just going to leave it natural. I think it's fine. So, but that's an option. I'm getting there, folks. I know I'm off camera. I apologize. Anybody got any questions out there? Comments? Thinking my way through my lacing right now. I think I am going to go double loop. It's called double loop lacing, double loop stitching. You can find tutorials all over the place online. I have a book here that has it in how to do it. I have trouble starting it all the time. I've been doing this for years and I can never seem to remember exactly how to start for some reason. I don't know why, but that's me. All right, so my saddle soap, I'm going to add a little water in there. Got the old spray bottle here. Does not hurt it. That's what you're supposed to do, folks. And we're going to smoosh that water around a little bit. Get that all nice and goopy. Let's see here. And just use this little rag down in there to hold it as I pull it through. And then we're going to use our rag just to wipe her down good. I'm doing this off camera. It's a little hard to get, you know, that many feet of lace on the camera here, folks, but that's all I'm doing. It's getting the saddle soap on there, making this supple so we have no problems when we're lacing. So, and that's what we want. Just going to do another pull through here through my rag with the saddle soap on it. Then we're going to get a lacing needle out. All right. We're done with our saddle soap for now. I'm going to put that away. I generally don't like using the saddle soap over here in my tooling area because I don't want to get it onto my tooling area or onto my tooling work. That's interesting. 1 hour and 10 we're into this, so it took us I bet about an hour to do this little bit here, which isn't too bad, really, in my opinion. The hardest part about lacing is you got this big long piece of lace and you got to pull the whole thing through. The other thing I'm going to warn you about is you want to be careful when you're pulling it that you don't pull too fast. These are very close to the edges. Leather is abrasive, so when you're pulling that through, if you start really wrenching that through, you can actually pull these holes out through that edge, and we don't want that, obviously. So, all right. Where is my lacing needle? Did you all steal my lacing needle? You might have. There they are. I found it. This is a lacing needle, folks. There's a little, see that little pointy part in there? We're going to put the lace through here, down to that pointy part, and press this together. That holds our lace in there. And I'm going to prep the end of my lace. I'm going to cut this on an angle. I'm just using a little pair of sewing scissors here. And we're going to feed this through the hole. It's just a smidge bigger than that hole, but that's okay. And again, this is 1/8 inch calf lace I'm using. So I've got it through the hole up here and down under that little spot there. And I'm just going to take my little pair of pliers here and press that down. So it's pushing into that just a little bit. These do wear out over time. So I have a whole bin full of them over here when they wear out. And I'll get a new one if I need to, of course, but they last quite a while. This little edge I'm going to clip off because that'll get caught when we pull it through. We don't want that. It's just something I learned over the years. All right, so let's see here. Got my identification holes, and now I got to think about how I want to go through this. So where's my spot? There's my little spot there. I made a mark so I knew. And we are just going to, let me think about how I want, which way I want to go here. I'm going to go this way. All right, so I will probably transition us over to the stitching pony here in a minute. So I have something to hold this while I work on it. Yep, I'm going to do that, folks. I'm going to go this way, and I'll move the camera in just a minute. Hang with me. I promise I'm still here, people. I'm still here. I'll have us transitioned over in a minute. Just bear with me. It's a little tricky to set up on camera, so that's why I'm doing it off camera. All right, let's move the camera now, folks. I still got one human with me. That's all right. There's our stitching pony. Loud and proud and all that good stuff, I guess. Trying to find the best view for you folks. Maybe this side's better, I don't know. All right. All right. Okay. Here we go, folks. We're going to see what we can do here for double loop lacing now. Got any questions? Like I said, I will occasionally take a peek there, see what we're looking at. Getting started is the hardest part. Once we get her going here, it won't be too bad at all. I'm pulling the lace all the way through right now. Like I said, I'm not going too fast because I want to make sure I'm not poking my way through those holes. So I'm going to leave a little tag end here. See that tag end? I always try to go a little bigger than I have to. And we're going to go through the next hole. Alrighty. I try to keep, this is the downside of the lace here. So I come through the right way. I don't get all twisted as I'm going. That's important. Again, you're pulling a lot of lace through these holes in the beginning. And as you go, of course, it gets shorter. Shorter is good. Now you see here's my outside going all the way around, which is what I want. And I bring that down. Now this little tag end, I want to make go under it, just like that, okay? So it kind of makes like an X there. And I'm tightening this up, and it's a lot easier to tighten once you get going. But right now it's a little tough. So I'm going to adjust the camera just a little, I think. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. I'm trying to find a better camera angle for everybody here. Let me try something. I'm going to try... Let's go over here. Don't get dizzy. I'm moving you all around. Yep. Let's go back. Let's try this. That might be a little better. Probably upside down, but that's okay. All right. So we've got our little X there. We're through. I'm making sure my lace is ready to go. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come over this way, right? Bring my lace back to my left-hand side here. I don't know how it looks to you guys. Probably looks backwards, but and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go under that X I just made. So that's our next move here. We go under the X. So see how I work that under the X right there? That's where we're headed. So again, I'm going to pull it through. You probably can't see it. On my stitching pony, I have a little magnet to hold my stitching needle if I want. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. And again, I want to make sure I don't have any twists. So as I get up to that point, I want to make sure my outside part of the lace is in the right directions. And you can pull that twist out as you go, but you got to be conscious of it as you come down to that point. And it's always hardest the first couple loops through, but after that it gets pretty darn easy. All right, so I'm under that. And now, it'll be a little hard to see here, but there's 2, 1, 2. So it's always under the X, over the 2, into the next hole. All right. So again, the first ones are always the toughest as I kick our camera out of direction here. So I'm coming back to this side over here. And I'm going to find my way into my next holes. There we go. Again, I'm being gentle as I pull through. I don't want to pull so fast I'm creating too much friction or abrading the leather. We definitely don't want that. Working my twist out here. Once I get 3 or 4 in, it gets so much simpler. And you can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm taking the twist out of it. So I'm over my 2. That's what I want. It's a little tough to see, but there's an X here again. Okay? So see how there's an X? There's one here, one here. That's what we want. All right?
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back over it, and I'm going to go under that X again. That's our next move. Just going to take a quick look here. Nope, no more comments. I got 4 humans watching. That's pretty cool. So again, I'm working under my X, being mindful of my twists. Going to slowly pull that through. It's a very Zen-like process. Once you get onto it, you can kind of get a nice flow going, so to speak. It's nice. What I'm doing right now is getting the twist out, getting it the direction I need to be before I pull that last little bit through. All right, there we go. And you want it nice and snug on there, okay? Just like that. Now, if you can see here, let me get my pointy tool here. Where'd it go? All right, who stole the pointy tool? All right, if you can see here, folks, see how we have 2 now? 1, 2. So we're going to go over the 2. Again, I'm going to be mindful of which way my lace needs to go, so we don't have a big twist when we get to the end there. What you can't see is I'm kind of pulling it through to hold it so it's not going to twist as I go around that. Lacing's a very old thing they did for a long time. You see it in older type of leather work, so to speak. I don't want to say older, but it's a style that's been around quite a while. But it is very time consuming, so you don't see it a lot. It would be a lot faster to walk over to, say, a sewing machine and sew this, but I think this will give us a much nicer look when we're done, and that's what we want. All right, so now we're going to snug that down again. And you can start to see that nice little lacing there? That's double loop lacing. It's also called double cordovan at times. So now we have an X here again. See our X? There's our X pattern right here, X, X. We're going to come over and go through that X. That's what we want. And it's starting to firm up now where it's going to be a little easier to work my way through. A few more will be even better, and then we'll be off to the races, so to speak. Again, if anybody has any questions, comments, happy to field some questions while I'm doing this. Got any questions about leather work or, I don't know, meaning of life, whatever you want to talk about. I'm happy to entertain all. So again, I'm making sure that twist is not in there. I definitely don't want to twist as I come through. So sometimes it gets a little tricky, but you usually can pull the twist the way you want. Sometimes you got to turn this way a little bit as you're coming through. And there we go. We got that twist out of there. So now we're looking at the X again. I'm going to adjust this in my stitching pony. Stitching pony is like an extra set of hands kind of, folks. That's really what you're working with here. And it clamps in here. Ooh, as I kick you guys all over the place. Wasn't that nice of me? All right, let's see here. Bear with me a minute here, folks. All right. Seems a little dark all of a sudden. I don't know why that is, but it's okay. We'll work with it. All right, so again, now we have the 2 here. See the 1, 2? 1, 2. We're going to come over those 2 and through the next hole. Again, there's a lot of lace to pull through right now, so that gets a little tough. I think I might adjust my light here to give you a little view on what we're doing better. Want to make sure we're going through the right holes as we work our way through it. And we are. That's good. I'm going to get another light here, folks. Try to get a little more light on the subject for you.
There we go, snug it down. Starting to see that come out nice. I like it. I like where we're headed. I'm going to get our light here for us. Lighting is this as I come around. All right. Thinking my way through. We're under the X again here, folks. That's where we're headed. And it is kind of a pain. The length of lace, I don't know how many feet we have here. I'm going to guess it's 5 to 7, somewhere in that range, maybe. But we're under the X. And if you've been paying attention, after we go under the X, we'll be over the 2. And you just keep that pattern in your head. Under the X, over the 2, all the way around until we get to the end. It's probably about as fun as watching paint dry, I'd imagine. Again, I'm working that twist out as I come under to make sure I have no twists in my lacing. There we go. There's our 2 again. 1, 2. So we're going to come over that and into the next hole. And we're always going, in this case, I'm going from my left, which is, this is my left, to the right. Probably looks reversed to you because I have the camera angle, but every time we're going from the left to the right. I might break into song, people. I'll warn you now. I tend to get songs in my head when I'm doing stuff. Again, be mindful of your twists. You want no twists in that leather when you come through, because it will look funny with our lacing up here if this is twisted at all. And again, we're snugging this down good. You are not trying to pull this so hard out that you're going to break the lace or anything. So we want to be mindful of that, of course. This is a slow process, but again, it's kind of a Zen thing. So again, if you got some questions, you want to talk about things in general, shoot a comment down there. Let's chat. You guys are company for me in the shop. That's how I look at it. And as I come to the end of the loop there, again, I'm making sure that I'm not twisted. Snug it down. Again, this is just a little, it's called a Tom Thumb purse. It's in an Al Stolman book. Just a little thing. It's not really a purse in my opinion because you're not putting much in this. Just some basic little things, like I said before, some lipstick or chapstick, maybe a small pocket knife, stuff like that maybe. I also try to keep this relatively in line with where it meets there. We can beat that back with a hammer when we're done, so to speak, but it's a little tough when you have a gusset like this. All right, we're back to under the X. So under the X we're going to go. And again, you could hand stitch this if you wanted to, things like that. That's definitely a possibility. Probably could machine stitch it, I think. I'd have to think my way through that a little bit, but the way the book had it was to be laced, so I thought we'd lace it. Again, I got a little bit of a twist, just got it out. That's good. Now we're back to over the 2 into our next hole, and as you can see, we're progressing along here. I did not count the amount of holes we have here, but there is a lot of them. Whoop. There's still 3 people watching. This can't be that exciting, can it, people? I feel like it can't be, but I don't know. Always watch. I almost missed a hole there. It's important we keep the holes lined up as we work around. Again, watch your twist as you come to the end. Make sure you have no twist in there. It's probably hard to see on camera. It's easy to tell when you're doing it in real life. What you can't see is I am literally feeding all of this line back around to the other side each time. That's off camera. One of the things I'll do to get this back in line is just bend this up a little bit like that, just to keep it straight on there the way it needs to be. What we got? We got 4 humans watching us. All right. Feel free to give us a thumbs up there if you want. We always appreciate a thumbs up. Again, working out my twist if I have any there, making sure I've got it the right way. The lace has a finished side and an unfinished side, like leather does, or a skin side, if you will. Back over the 2 this time. Trying to find the hole. There we go. We got it. I will be putting a final video up too, folks, just on the YouTube channel when we're done, if you want to check it out, you know. So you'll see the finished product too when I'm all done. Should be able to see now is this is starting to look pretty nice coming down along there. That's how the whole thing will look once we're all the way around. All right, we're back to under the X. Under the X, over the 2. Keep saying it, folks. Under the X, over the 2. Again, there is plenty of tutorials to do this out there online. You can search it. Just search for double loop lacing or double cordovan, and you'll find it. All right, coming down, making sure my twist isn't in there. A lot of times if I untwist it, I can pull the twist right through. It just pulls out as I'm going through. At least that's what I've learned over the years and what I've been taught. Don't be scared of trying this stuff, folks. It's really not hard. Don't let people tell you it's too hard to do or anything. It's not. It's fun. Let's see. We got any comments? It's hard to read upside down, people. Nope, no comments. That's all right. An hour and 30, almost 35 in here. I think we're doing pretty good. This is a relatively quick project. You know, if it's the first time doing it, it takes a little longer, of course, but as you get onto it, it's pretty quick. And it's in the book. All the dimensions are there, everything you need, including the amount of holes. So there's not a lot of thinking, so to speak. You can just follow the pattern, and that's the fun of it. As you get along in leather work, you want to get a little more adventurous. You can make your own patterns or different sizes or whatever you like. Got our twist out. That one worked out beautifully. Another 7 hours here, we'll be done. I expect all you to watch all the way through. No, just kidding. Of course not. I do appreciate you folks watching, though. I hope it's fun for you, or you learn a little something, or maybe this gives you an interest in leather work that you didn't have before. Like I said, for me, it's a little company in the shop. I work alone, which is fine, but nice to have some company sometimes, so thanks for joining me. If you're just joining us, I had said earlier that I had messed the main piece up. I did some carving. I got heavy-handed with it, and I ended up punching straight through the leather because this is relatively thin leather. This leather is 4 ounces. So you got to be careful when you're stamping on it and carving on it that you don't punch right through it, because that is no good, folks. No good. Let's see. Any comments? Nope, no comments. Really, nobody wants to discuss the meaning of life. Some of you might know the meaning of life, of course, is 42. Bonus points if you know what book or movie that is from. I have no idea what it means, but I know what it's from. I will say meaning of life is making things with your hands, folks. It is definitely something I think we're designed to do. I think we were designed to create and do and make. And I think that's an important part of being humans. We are not designed to sit behind computers all day like we do things like that. Obviously, we all got to pay the bills, so we do that stuff. But you can do stuff with your hands. I think there's a lot of positive benefits to that mentally. And in the end, you have something that you created that you like and you enjoy. I'm just seeing how we're working our way around here, and I like where we're at. I think we're okay. Gonna be again. I apologize if I break into song. I'm a terrible singer, but every so often I just double check to make sure I did not miss a hole or something, because that will mess us up. We definitely don't want to do that. I've done it, folks. I've done it where I realized, oops, and then I had to take the needle off, back it all the way up, and redo. No fun, no fun. Don't do that. If any of you feel like commenting, I know there's only a few of you on here, but any of you do leather work, or the folks watching, are you already leather people? And what do you do? What are you into with leather? There's so many different things from, saddle work and horse stuff and purses, totes, knife sheaths like I like to do. Of course, I make knives, so it probably makes a lot of sense why I like doing sheaths. Actually, kind of like sheaths better than the knife work sometimes. But I'd be curious if anybody wants to comment if they're a leather worker and what they do. Also, if you got any thoughts on what you'd like to see live, I'm interested. Kind of curious what other folks might want to see for a live or a tutorial, if you will. I keep chewing on maybe running some classes someday too. That might be an option. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And let's face it, since this is a business, it's a way to generate revenue. We got 2 people, 8 likes. All right. I got like this one song stuck in my head, and I know exactly like 4 words to the song, and I just keep singing it over and over again, which is kind of dumb. Again, working a twist out. This one's being there we go. Those twists sure do like to move on us. By the way, you also don't have to fancy this up the way I did with the stamping or anything. You can just do it as plain leather. There is no specific laws to that. It's what you like, what you want to put on there. Colors is up to you. You might want to go black leather, or you might want to use plain leather and then dye it a color. Lots of dyes available out there. You can get them all different colors. Brown and black, of course, are very traditional. You see that a lot. So, all right, I'm going to adjust the stitching pony just a little bit here. As we work our way around, I'm going to see if I can't get that in a better position for me. That's a little better, I think. Let's try that. All right, there we go. All right, any commentary? Nope. All right. What else can I babble about? Let's see. Quantum physics? Anybody into quantum physics? Wait, I don't know anything about quantum physics. I know the name. That's it. I got nothing after that. Differential equations. I've got a son who's taken that class this year in college. I am very happy that I am not the human who has to take that. I don't even know what it is. Calculus. That's about it. But that was not my field of study, thank God. All right, again, working my twists out here as I pull through. Can't stress how important that is. You do not, this looks so nice when it's stitched right. But if you get too much, get a twist in there, it's not going to look right. Your eye will be drawn to that, so you don't want that. Let's see, what else we got? Current events. Starting to get dark around these parts. And a little cloudy out. Not too bad, though. No rain. The garden is coming to the end of its season around these parts. We're getting a lot out of the garden right now, which is nice. Got some awful nice pumpkins this year for decorating. Might even be a jack-o'-lantern, who knows? That's the kind of current events we like, though. Again, I'm trying to keep this relatively centered on the two pieces of leather as I go. Just be mindful of that as you're stitching. What other current events? Let's talk about other current events. I had a couple deer in the yard this morning. Little buck, little spike, youngin', probably a year old. And a doe was with them. They were up eating the apples under the apple tree. We let them have those sometimes. Not a good apple crop this year. Had a little frost early on that wreaked some havoc, so that's a bummer. But that'll happen. That's nature. Woodchuck has been enjoying the apples as well. He's welcome as long as he stays out of the garden. Ooh, we got one human watching yet. That's a brave soul watching all this stitching work. I know it doesn't seem like it, but we're making some good progress here. We're all the way from here to here now. And the nice part is it does get faster as you go because oh, folks, I made a giant error. My phone was dying and I didn't plug it in, but we're back and we're further along here, as you can see. So let's keep going. Or if anybody's still watching, you got any questions or comments, by all means, let me know. But I'm going to keep lacing here, working my way around this. We're doing pretty good. We're all the way up to here. So we're not quite at the halfway point, but we're getting there. So welcome back if you're still here watching or you're just joining us. So by all means, throw a comment down there, that way. Let me know what's up. So to refresh your memories of the pattern, I'm going over the 2 and then under the X, and over the 2 and under the X. That's the whole deal with this as we go along. Making sure we don't have any kinks in our, or twists in our leather, in our lace as we come through. That's important. Well, there's still one human watching. I don't know who this brave human is, but good for you. Because again, this has got to be like watching paint dry. I'm watching paint dry. I don't know. Ooh, 2 humans now. Also, our I now know why it suddenly got dark on my phone is because I was running out of battery, people. But we're plugged in now. We're back to life here. For those of you wanting to watch along as I continue to loop lace this here into the evening. Double loop lace, excuse me. And you can see how this is working its way around there. See how that's going to be when we're all done? All right, we're going under the X, people. Under the X. The real question is, what do I do with this thing when I'm done with it? Do I throw it on the website for sale? Maybe somebody would want to buy it. I don't know. I don't even know what to price this at. Too much work in it. But maybe I'll throw it up there for funsies. Again, making sure no twists in that leather as I come through there because I want it nice and uniform up there. Twists would be bad, bad, bad. I wanna rock and roll all night and party every day. I don't know why I just broke into song. I'm sorry. Pretty sure I'm not going to give Kiss a run for their money anytime soon or ever. I do put on a pretty good concert in the car, though, to myself. At least I think it sounds okay. Probably doesn't sound okay to anybody else. Somewhere a cat's howling. Again, getting a little faster now that we're getting down. We're heading towards the halfway point, meaning we used up a good bit of the lace now, which is good. Just making sure I'm following along here. Not clamping this too tight as I go, because we don't want it too tight and messing our leather up at all. Yeah, and every so often I do just double check to make sure I'm not skipping a hole. That would be disaster, folks. That means unlacing and relacing. Nobody wants to do that. We are 10 holes from the halfway point, folks. 10 holes. That's not too bad. Folks often ask why leatherwork costs so much, or custom leatherwork, and I try to, I guess educate's the right word, I don't know. I like to talk about that sometimes. This is why, folks. It's the timeline. There is nothing fast about this. It's no different. You go down to the mechanic, they charge by the hour for a reason, because your time counts. You got to count that into what you're doing, so that's why you don't see a lot of double loop lacing on stuff, because the cost of the time is significant, to say the least. One brave human watching us. Okay. That could be alien, maybe. Maybe an alien's watching me. I don't know. The other thing is the cost of the leather. Good leather can, like the good veg tan leather from, say, Wicken and Craig or Herman Oak, you're going to run about $10 a square foot or a little more. So there's a lot of cost in the leather, too, just the material costs. I'd be happy to hit that halfway point here. It's going to look good. We will probably have to transition off the stitching pony at some point, because I don't think I'm going to have a way to grab this as I work my way around. Pretty sure anyway. But we'll see what happens. Two brave souls. Look at that. Any comments? Nope. All right. Again, folks, if you have any questions, want to talk about general stuff, want to talk about leather, knives, whatever, I'm here for it. I'm open to discussion. Oh, there's a twist. Can't have that. No twists. So we're going to work that twist right on out of there. There it goes. Again, we just went under the X. We're going to go over the 2. A little tricky here as we come around these curves. We got to make sure we keep that going in the directions we need.
making sure we're not skipping holes as we go. Again, that would be disaster. Well, folks, I have a problem, and it's something I spoke of. Unfortunately, I pulled it through. If you look at that, I broke it right there. Where's that at? See it there? So, unfortunately, all this work is for naught because I pulled too hard there. That leather might have been a little dry, or it might have had a little nick in it or something, but I pulled that through. So, unfortunately, we are back to square one. That's a bummer, folks. So, I'm going to stop the live stream here. That's a shame. Not much I can do about that. You can see how nice our loop lacing was coming, though. I think we would have looked awful darn nice all said and done. But unfortunately, that is no good right there. So there is no coming back from that. So thanks for joining me, folks. I'm going to have to redo this piece again for the third time. But that's all right. Part of heading west. Thanks, folks. Hope you all have a great evening, and we'll see you next time around.